Yes, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to you all. We welcome you to LB24 once again. This is a legal advice show. Generally, we discuss and advise you, dear viewers, on legal issues. We are here. Hopefully, we'll be with you within the next for another 45 minutes or so this evening, and we hope that you will join us and ask any legal problems that you may have today. Let us let me tell you who you have before you today. First of all, well, myself, Ahmed Malik, I'm a practicing barrister from Westminster Law Chambers. We are based at Chancery Lane as well as Whitechapel. I am also a mediator for civil dispute resolution, as well as a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. And my colleague today, we have Fiaz Hussain. He's also a practicing barrister. And he is a member of Westminster Law Chambers. Now, we intend to cover many areas of law. I hope we will be receiving text messages from you or through Facebook page, through comments. You can write your questions. আমি যারা বাংলাতে বেঙ্গলি ভিউয়ার্স লগে আমি আপনার জাস্ট ওয়ান্টেড টু সে আপনারা এটা বাইলিঙ্গুয়াল শো আমরা একটা আমরা লিগাল অ্যাডভাইস দিমু জেনারেল সাবজেক্টের উপরে আপনারা যদি এনি কোয়েশ্চন থাকে কোনো ধরনের আইন বিষয়ক তাইলে প্লিজ আপনারা আমরারে কমেন্টসর মাঝে আপনারা কোয়েশ্চন লিখতে পারেন অথবা টেক্সট করতে পারেন। টেক্সটের নম্বর দেওয়া আছে স্ক্রিনের মাঝে, আমি কইরাম 0771-347-1905 এই নম্বরও আপনারা টেক্সট করতে পারেন। প্লিজ আমরারে কল করবা না, কেউ কল করলে কল নেওয়া যেত না। আর we don't have the facility to take live calls from you. However, we would be happy to answer your questions if you send us a text or make a comment on the Facebook page of LB24. So what we'll do to start with, we would like to have a discussion about a recent event which is very much a live issue and very much concern the minority communities in the country. The issue is the hate crime. Since the incident in Westminster, terrorist incident when several people lost their lives, Muslims in the UK are concerned. There has been numerous incidents have been, in fact there is nothing serious so to date. Some minor incidents have been reported. What we learn from media of assault and hate crimes targeted against Muslim men and women. Yesterday there was an incident in Croydon area where a young man, an asylum seeker from Iraqi Kurdish, he was badly attacked and assaulted by a group of men, and he is now fighting for his life in hospital. This is clearly hate crime, and we'd like to start talking about this hate crime law, and my colleague Fiaz will just to highlight the areas of law briefly. Fiaz.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Malik. It is a very sad moment that we are living in, unfortunately. And just to echo what Mr. Malik said, it is quite unfortunate that living in this day and age, nevertheless, when we walk the streets, sometimes we are apprehensive and in fear of what may happen. And the incident that happened yesterday with that innocent young man illustrates that quite vividly. In terms of if you are on the receiving end of a hate crime, or if you are witnessing it, ideally the first thing you should do, if possible, is to manage and be able to contain yourself in a safe environment. If you have a phone to hand, that would be good to record, because that will be useful evidence in court. And before I actually talk about a bit of the statutes and laws and some case laws as well, to give some examples of how the courts have interpreted the statutes, the Acts of Parliament, I think it would be good to just give a few websites for you to visit if for further information, or if indeed you have witnessed, or if you are the victim of a hate crime. First and foremost is to report it. Please do not ignore it. You must report it to the police and the relevant authorities. So that's the paramount and first step that you should be taking. Secondly, in terms of websites, there is a police-funded website that they provide and they maintain, and that's called reportit.org.uk/home. So that's www.reportit.org.uk/home. You can also contact your local Citizens Advice Bureau, and they will have information and leaflets for you in relation to hate crimes and how you can address it. Other useful websites comprise Equality Advisory Support Service, and their website is www.equalityadvisoryservice.com. And just to throw out a few more, or lastly, it's a government website, so it's an official website, and that is www.gov.uk get support as a victim of crime. So there is information out there, there is support services out there as well, and so it's very important for you to know that you are not alone, and that providing you have the right mechanisms that you can avail, then hopefully that will be the first steps towards bettering the situation. So that was a few of the websites. Now, in terms of the actual law, the question to be asked is, what exactly is a hate crime? Now, there is no legal definition as such, but the police and the CPS, they have an agreed definition of a hate crime, and it's really no surprises as to what it constitutes. It's any criminal offence which is perceived by the victim or any other person to be motivated by hostility or prejudice based on a person's race or perceived race, religion, sexual orientation, disability, and any other crime motivated by hostility or prejudice against a person. So in a nutshell, that is what a hate crime is. So any hostility or any assault or any beatings, etc., that are based focusing on the Muslim community, that are based on either their identity, whether, for example, there are Muslim sisters out there who are wearing a hijab, based on their item of clothing, based on the color of their skin, based on any of those personalities where you are the victim of receiving some sort.
Let me just interrupt briefly. There are children who goes to Muslim children.
Yes.
Or even especially nowadays are being bullied at school. We have heard that they are
or sort of name calling taking place.
Yeah, saying that you're Muslim terrorists. And so what should those children do?
Ideally, the schools, from the information available, the schools do have a support service and a liaison service. I think the key problem is the lack of communication between the individual who is holding it in himself and keeping it to himself or herself. And that is not the correct approach. Sometimes, most often than not, they won't inform their parents or their older siblings or any other members of family that they should confide in. And secondly, they don't really confide or approach the relevant support contact centres within school and externally as well. So ideally, if anyone knows of any children or any youngsters or who are in the early teens, etc., then they must, rather than resorting to physical violence, which is not the correct approach, and it's not the Islamic approach as well, mind you, they should ultimately break the ice and communicate with the relevant officers in confidence, so that steps can be taken to mitigate any negativity or any bullying.
So the school has a duty, of course, to protect those children and look after their welfare.
Of course.
However, sometimes the children themselves are a bit shy, or they feel they're scared to tell others.
Yes.
They suffer in silence, like general bullying.
Yes.
So what we have to generally say that the parents have to encourage the children to share any of those experiences with their teachers as well as authorities.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. Because the more it's reported, the more action is likely to be taken. If it just goes under the table, then realistically speaking, nothing's really going to happen, is it? So that's the first and foremost step.
I would also, I'm aware that some Muslim organizations like Muslim Council of Britain are very active, have played a very active role recently in highlighting since this terrorist incident in Westminster. And there are other organizations are also very actively working with the authorities to ensure that there is no backlash against the Muslim community.
Yes.
And we hope that we can, the communities can unite. People from different faiths have shown a lot of interest to work together in unity.
Yes.
People from different faiths, Christian, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, everybody came together. And just to hate, there has been a lot of demonstrations and
Yes.
protest meetings. I think it's a very good, very encouraging sign that we have seen, and hopefully this we can all combat it together with the support of everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so just to we got a lot of questions are coming. I think what we'll do is we'll pause on this
Sure,
for a while now, and just to tell our viewers that what we intend to do. Yes, immigration is an area which always is very close to our community's heart, I should say. A lot of people have immigration issues. And I am happy to, we are happy to discuss about, and advise people on any immigration related cases. Yes, so please don't feel shy to ask. However, our focus is there are a lot of TV shows, and lawyers mostly spend their time on advising on immigration law and practices. We, as practicing barristers, we intend to deal with more serious matters which concern everybody, such as property-related matters, family, and many different kind of court cases. We do both commercial cases, company commercial, as well as cases involving individuals in different level, different courts, from small courts to the court of appeal courts, higher courts. So anyone has got any case that you require some advice, I mean, you don't have to give all your secret away or share, give us any particular confidential information. However, general questions can be asked, and we would like to use our knowledge and experiences to share with you and advise you as much as possible. Now, Fiaz, I have I have a question here from Portugal. Actually, his name is he says his name is Shued. He said, actually, I know him. I hope you are well, Shued. Yes, he wants to know about the Brexit issue for European citizens. So yes, I know there are lots of people who are living in Portugal and Spain, in Italy, and they intend, or other part of Europe, they intend to come and settle in the UK, and now they want to know, concerned about it, what to do, what is going to happen.
Yes, I mean this is a grey area, And I think ultimately, I don't think even the ministers themselves know exactly what's going out or what's going to happen. It was a bit of a shock result to the system. But in terms of the legal implications, I think time will ultimately tell the exact remit of that. But those who are already in the UK, who are foreign or EU nationals, I think the government has given a pledge that their status will remain and that there will be no need for...
I believe so too. Those who have been in the UK for some time and who, in fact, the government has not set a deadline. We know it is still being debated very much. People are, the British government has not yet decided to set a cut-off date for,
But no, Article 50 has been triggered.
Now this has been triggered.
So by March 2019.
Yeah. So the government has decided, this formal Article 50, this is formal withdrawal, a request to formal notice to withdraw from the European Union.
Yes.
This has happened last week. Now those people who are already in the UK, they are unlikely to be asked to go back. There is no promise has been made to them yet, but there are a lot of debates about it. We will hopefully know within the next coming months as the negotiations progress with the leaders of the EU nations. The British government will make the position more clear. But generally, it is conceived, believed that those people who are already here, they will not be asked to go back. যারা already কেন আসছেন তারা যদিও ফার্স্ট বছরে অনার হইছে না অনেকে শর্ট টাইম থেকে আইসেন খামখররা ফ্যামিলি সহ আমার মনে হয় না কোনো চিন্তার কোনো কারণ আছে খুব বেশি চিন্তা না করি আপনারা লাইফে যেহেতু আইছেন নিজস্ব সেটেল করার চেষ্টা করুক যারা অলরেডি এসে গেছেন আপনাদেরকে চিন্তার কোনো কারণ নেই আমি মনে করি আমার দিস ইজ মাই পার্সোনাল ভিউ হয়তো সিচুয়েশন চেঞ্জ হতে পারে বাট just to watch and see what is going to happen. কারো কাছে এই মুহূর্তে ক্লিয়ার কোনো আনসার নাই যে কি হবে বাট যারা যেমন সুয়েদের মতো যারা পর্তুগালে আছেন ওনারা হয়তো পর্তুগিজ সিটিজেনশিপ পেয়ে যাবেন অথবা পেয়ে গেছেন ওনাদের ব্যাপারটা এখনও ক্লিয়ার নাই যে ওনারা যদি until formal withdrawal whether they can come. Yes, of course you will be able to come if you have a EU passport. But whether or not you will be able to stay here permanently, this is something we don't know.
No, not yet.
Not yet, no. So those people who are already here, they are in a better position. Those people who are who have not yet arrived in the UK and intend to come, yes, you should come and see how things go.
Yeah,
this is the only thing I think I can say.
But yeah, I think it would be a tit for tat as well, because in the sense that because there are many UK individuals who are abroad as well. So I'm sure the government will have a pragmatic and sensible approach to safeguard the British citizens abroad, balanced with the EU nationals here. So I suppose that will probably be the course there.
I've been asked to make a break now for I think commercial. So we'll just take a short break. And viewers, please stay with us and we hope to come back to you soon. Imon!
What are you doing here?
ইমনটা দেখতে পাইছি
It's best you just stay away from us.
ইমনটা একবারটা দেখতে দাও একবার
Breakdown of marriage affects parents and children. Barrister Malik and his expert team of lawyers can act to elevate pain and stress. Westminster Law Chambers.
Police man, Jeba, তোর মা আমারে নিবার লাগে আইছে পুলিশের মা আমি আইয়ার
আজকে থেকে ইগোর আমার ইগোর অধিকার আমার বেশি আমি বকর বড়
তোমরা আমারে শান্তি মতো মরবার দিতায় না বুঝছি ব্যারিস্টার মালিক সাহেবরে খবর দাও উইল বানাইতাম
দেখলা তো উইল বানাইলে কি অবস্থা হয় আজকেই উইল বানাও টাইম ওয়েস্ট করবা না
Dear viewers, thank you very much for staying with us. Yes, we are here. We are both myself, Ahmed Malik, I'm a practicing barrister, and also my colleague Fiaz Hussain. He is also a practicing barrister. We are both from Westminster Law Chambers. We are here to advise and assist you with your legal problems. Please feel free to send us your questions by writing in the comment on the LB24 Facebook page, and also you can send us a text on our number on the screen. You can see, but I can tell the number again: 0771 347 1905. Earlier we were talking about hate crime, and also we discussed about Brexit. These are more of general discussion. However, as lawyers, our main jobs are to solve people's legal problems. So if I can say, I know every day we receive calls from people who have problems with their partners in business. Sometimes you are in a business, you invested money in a business, and your partners are not letting you know exactly what is going on. You have no information about how much it is, what is the taking, what is happening with the business itself. Some people are silent partners. So I just say Bengali briefly, partnership or একটা প্রবলেম অনেকে আবার ডকুমেন্ট ছাড়া পার্টনারশিপ করেন, ডকুমেন্ট থাকে না, এবং অনেক সময় পার্টনাররা তো পয়সা দিয়া এবং পার্টনারে কোনো ইনফরমেশনও দেন না, কোনো কিছু জিকাইলে বরং আরও উল্টা কথা কইন, রাগ করেন, অনেকে আবার গালিগালাজও করেন। এরকম হয়েছে যে জোর করিয়া বিজনেস থেকে বারো করে দেওয়া হয় অনেক সময় পুলিশ আয়, এরকম খবর আমরা পাই, আমরা কাছে কমপ্লেন হয়। So generally a lot of incidents happen in business, in partnership. So if anybody's got any problem, please feel free. I have to tell you one thing though. If generally Fiaz, like any agreement, it can be done orally as well as in writing. So if you have given money to somebody in a business, invested money for a certain shares in the business, you have the full right to know how the business is doing. It's all it's business affairs, and of course everybody invest money for a profit. You can seek account, you can seek profit if the business is of course making profit. But if there is no written document, it is difficult. Now Fiaz, what should somebody do when there is no written document like a partnership agreement?
Well, if there's no partnership agreement, ideally and practically speaking, first and foremost, you should always, even though normally when it's business, it's especially in the Asian community, it's dealt with that, he's a fellow brother, although they're not related, but he's a fellow brother, he's like my own brother. Therefore, there's no need to formalize the relationship. But I think that once you are heading into the arena of business, it's always wise to put it in writing, so it's in black and white. That will always reduce any issues. But if there isn't, however, any written agreement, there should be some sort of communication. So anything which sheds light on the type of arrangement, so either via emails, via letters, or any communications that you've received. All of this is fact-finding and gathering evidence. So if there is no, if you're only relying on an oral agreement, then it's a harder task for the lawyers.
There might be some witnesses who often I have come across a number of cases where people invested money in cash into the hands of their partners.
Yeah.
And then they haven't received any receipt. So how can we prove that he has actually invested some money?
I mean, it is difficult, but what kind of advice did you give then?
Well, what I said, that of course we need to see whether or not that money existed in the first place. If you say, yes, I have given money, £20,000 to my partner, why did you have this money? Was it from in a bank account? So source of the money is, of course, this is something the court and wants to see, and your opponent also will ask this question: what is the source of the money that you are allegedly have given to my client?
Yes.
So if you, when you give the money, if some independent person saw it, not your wife or not your father or mother, some independent witness saw the money being handed over, that can prove in the court of law that yes, you go, that you have given money. This is something will be good evidence. And if you have, as I said, as you already said, the communications.
Yes.
There may be several numerous telephone calls between you and your partner.
Right. Yeah. Text messages
Or telephone calls, or many times he called you or you called him. That shows, this is the clear indication of a relationship that has existed between two of you. So I would say that don't just give up. You go to a lawyer and he asks, okay, do you have any agreement between you in your partnership agreement? And you say no. And then what can you do? I would say don't give up in the first instance. Go to you can always try to prove your case by thinking about it, and of course looking for ways to prove your claim.
Yes, and just to give a better illustration, one of the professional negligence cases that we talked about in our first show, but just because of the nature of today's topic, is such that the client had given 60,000 to a firm of solicitors for a deposit towards the purchase of property, and around 50,000 of that was cash. Cash given to the solicitor in various installments, and so we told the client to provide a list, provide his full bank statements for that period of time when those transactions were being made, and also which also indicated when and at what stage those transactions were given. Also, as well as any email communications or text messages between the solicitor and the client. So in essence, it's a fact-finding investigation, and also so as to build evidence. So what you're doing is putting the best case forward, and judges, they're not really stupid. When it actually comes to trial, judges are very advanced and they're very clever, and they can see a genuine, honest man or a person, or man or woman during trial giving evidence. And in that case, we managed to secure that amount of money despite the difficult circumstances we were faced with.
We faced the hardest possible opposition. However, it was at the end it was successful. I have come across numerous cases where the judges make decision on a simple piece of document.
Yes.
I was dealing with a money claim between two individuals. I was representing one party, and the judge in the Central London County Court, he based his judgment entirely on a short letter which was written by one party to one of the parties, a third party to one of the parties.
Right.
A simple letter. And the judge was his line of thinking was, if this is not correct, why should this person write this letter confirming this? Now, I would say, especially those advocates who represent people, they will have better understanding of how the court processes take place. And those who only prepare cases, such as a lot of solicitor colleagues who do not go to court, they just confine their activities within the office rooms. They can consider, think quite widely and see if all the correspondences, all email and letters, all documents has to be thoroughly examined. I could say, I wouldn't go as far as forensically examined. I would say thoroughly examined and give thought whether or not it has any significance. আমি যতটা কইরাম বাংলা কইরাম যে যদি কোনো কেস প্রুভ করতে কোনো ডকুমেন্ট নাও থাকে, তারপরেও যত ধরনের করসপন্ডেন্স আছে, যেমন সিটি, ইমেইল, লেটার, সবগুলো কিন্তু খামো লাগে যদি প্রপারলি উইথ এভিডেন্সিয়াল পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ এটা যদি অ্যানালাইজ করা হয়, অ্যাসেস করা হয়, এবং আমরা যারা কোর্টও ব্যারিস্টার যারা আমরা যাই কোর্টও রিপ্রেজেন্ট করি এভরিডে নিউ সিচুয়েশন আমরা ফেস করি লার্ন করি এবং অনেক সময় আমি এক কেসও জাস্ট একটু আগে করেছিলাম যেটা অনেকে যারা মানে চিন্তা কইরাম জাস্ট সিম্পল লেটারের মাধ্যমে একজনের কেস একটা উইন করেছে যার ভিউ সম্পূর্ণ পাল্টে গেছে সো এনিওয়ে সো পার্টনারশিপের কথা আসলাম আমরা ডিসকাস করবো ইন ডিটেলস ইন ফিউচার আমরা আশা করলাম যে বিজনেস কমিউনিটি যারা আছেন যারা অনেক সময় প্রবলেম ফেস করা পার্টনারশিপের মাঝে আপনারা আমরা কোয়েশ্চন জিগাইবা এনি স্পেসিফিক কোয়েশনস or আপনারা যদি if anybody has got any running as a company not necessarily partnership a company related অনেক আছেন মাইনরিটি শেয়ার হোল্ডার হল আছেন যারা মেজরিটি শেয়ার হোল্ডার হওয়ার মাধ্যমে দ্বারা অনেকে আবার যখন এই they don't get any information or they get bullied generally I just mentioned the minority shareholding and the power of majority shareholders
Yes.
generally
Yes.
sometimes how people have those who have directors and majority shareholders not necessarily directors majority shareholders control the company's affairs and often make the minority shareholders suffer. So I just want to say we have if anybody has any questions if you're trading in a company please feel free to text or ask us questions. Now I can see there are a number of people have joined in and our brother Shah Yusuf he's also joined us from Makkah. He's doing Umrah. Please pray for us Shah Yusuf. He's the director of this TV channel L24. We are pleased to see that you have the time to join us from Makkah. Mashallah, mashallah. Hope everything is okay for you. Just one other thing, areas I think we have a lot of issues, or we often get inquiries, is the housing related matters. Often the number of matters that have recently come up with homelessness, intentional homelessness. Do you recall any particular case that you've dealt with? Intentional where the issues someone who was on the housing the local council placed them on temporary accommodation. I think they placed them in a private landlord.
A shelter, a B&B was provided
Yes, and then he was considered to be an intentionally homeless, he and his family, and the council withdrew his application and wanted them to leave that particular property, and we had to apply for an injunction.
Yes.
Do you recall that particular
Yes, we had
case?
to apply for an injunction, which was successful. So, but just to mention earlier on in regards to the shareholding aspect of it, although if you are a minority shareholder, the law nevertheless does protect you. There are various mechanisms available at the court's discretion which can assist a minority in any particular scenario. But moving on to the housing aspect of it, there are again various forms and various avenues that you can seek recourse to assist you. One of the key things that is available is seeking an immediate injunction. And what this injunction does, it's a temporary measure, but nevertheless it stops you from being homeless immediately. And more often than not, the court does give the benefit to the tenant and grants the injunction with a further hearing or a further inquiry to take place. So there is a small room to maneuver within. And ideally, but in the case that we dealt with, I believe the actual client managed to secure some sort of financial standing and get some private housing. So therefore, his claim was...
The allegation against him was, if I remember correctly, that his landlord told the council who placed him on temporary accommodation that he was in arrears of rent
Yeah.
to to his previous landlord
Yes.
before he was placed on temporary accommodation. Because of that, he was ousted. His landlord evicted him from his property previous, and because of this reason, the council considered him and his family to be intentionally homeless.
Yes.
So the issue is whether or not, if you are in arrears of rent, which means you have not paid your rent correctly, those who are tenants in private accommodation, if you intend to go into the local authority housing, this is an issue one has to be fully aware of. If you are not paying your rent properly, and if your landlord takes you to court for arrears of rent, for non-payment of rent or arrears of rent, and there is a possession order made against you, and the landlord subsequently evict you from the property, then you may well have a lot of problems. Some local authorities will not give you housing, social housing.
In fact, I think that's pretty common. Yeah,
Yes.
no authority will give you housing in such circumstances.
Yeah, so keep your rents up to date, and only time you can, well, obviously, if your landlord give you proper notice under section 21, we call it, with 2 months
Accelerated
notice
procedure.
for general notice to vacate the property after the tenancy expires, and then you have no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, we will discuss these in these issues and other housing related issues in coming days.
Sure.
We're just touching on the areas that we intend to discuss. আমরা বিভিন্ন হাউজিং রিলেটেড ইস্যু নিয়ে অনেক অ্যাকোমোডেশনের বা হাউজিং রিলেটেড অনেক প্রবলেম আছে, টেনেন্টেরও সমস্যা আছে, ল্যান্ডলর্ডেরও সমস্যা আছে, আমরা ডিসকাস করবো। Just one thing I wanted to say, which I mentioned to, forgot to say, both of us speak, you are a Urdu speaker, language speaker, fluent Urdu. You can cover in both Urdu and Hindi community, which is huge numbers in this country. So anybody who wants to speak to Fiaz in Urdu or Hindi, he is more than happy to speak to you in Urdu and Hindi. I also understand Urdu very well, and I speak very fluently too. Obviously, I am a Bengali speaker. You can see I speak both proper Bangla as well as Sylheti. So anybody wants to send a message and tell me which language you want me to answer your question, please, I will be able to do it, and also my colleague will do the same. I think the time is running so fast, and I think the time is all on. We are nearly coming to an end to our show very soon. I think about a few minutes left, Fiaz.
Right.
And we have to do pre-Maghrib also. So I think today I think you wanted to say something before I stopped you. Did you want to say something?
Well, no. I mean, I think for those viewers who weren't able to see the first segment of the show, ideally, going back to the hate crime issue, again, please do just rewind a few moments and capture some of those websites so that you can get the proper information for yourselves or for anyone you know, and to increase awareness. That's one of the key things that we need to do. So that's what I would like to just mention.
What I intend to do, Fiaz, and I would request our viewers, if you have any questions or any issues you want us to deal with, please text us. You can also call us after the show on the telephone number that you can see, and we are available to answer your questions. It won't cost you anything. We can assure you that. So please feel free. This is service we have brought to you, to our viewers, on behalf of Westminster Law Chambers, which is a barrister's chamber, and we intend to just to benefit the community. This is our duty we believe this is our duty to the community to assist you. Therefore, we are here, and we intend to carry on this service as long as possible. We will definitely be able to respond if you send us a question on this number. It may not be today. We can maybe tomorrow anytime. As soon as one of us is available, we will get back to you. But we will cover many areas. As I said, we are not going to confine ourselves in immigration law. We will, however, answer all your queries on immigration, human rights issues, and citizenship issues. especially European national, EU national, especially I know a lot of people from Asian background, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indian. A lot of them have come here. They have not received their permanent residences yet, and we can definitely advise you how to deal with it. How do you make your application for permanent residence in the UK? যারা বিভিন্ন দেশ থেকে আইসেন ইউরোপর এবং যারা খিলা অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করবা আপনারা যদি আমাদের সহযোগিতা চান কিভাবে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করবেন কি ডকুমেন্ট প্রয়োজন বা কিভাবে প্রেজেন্ট করবেন please contact us. We will be more than happy to guide you, to advise you how to present your application to the Home Office. Okay, I think we will we have come to an end today, and just to say to viewers many thanks for joining us and viewing us and for taking part in questions and discussions, and inshallah we will be with you next Monday again, and we hope to be able to spend a full hour at least next week, so please be with us at 7 o'clock next week. Many thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.